welcome back to WazzupSports. I'm Ehab, and this is my son Omar. Obviously, we're wearing our victory whites on Victory Monday. Not the same throwback uniforms from 1994, but hey, they're still beautiful. The whites are really nice. As you can see, I got my rocking George Kittle. We got Garoppolo on my right, Jimmy G. I think my son's more handsome though, but that's a different story. Anyway, so the 49ers improved to 3-3, coming off the shellacking from the Miami Dolphins last week. So basically, it went yesterday, I think, in convincing fashion, 24-16, to get back up to 500. Now, we're gonna break down some statistics from the game, how some players did and such, and I'm gonna start off, since I'm wearing the man himself. Woo! George Kittle right here. I want to start off with this man that is the heart and soul of the team. So, George Kittle caught 7 passes for 109 yards, of which one of them was a 44-yard touchdown on 4th and 2.
On the touchdown pass, the Rams played cover 0, and Kittle beat his man for the 44-yard touchdown.
Yeah, so basically, you know, it was a situation in the middle of the field. We were too far to kick a field goal. Didn't want to punt, so Shanahan went for it on 4th and 2. He went, I believe, 5 wide with Kittle, and Kittle basically ran a quick post or a quick slant, depending on how you look at it, and he beat his defender. They had nobody back. They were playing man, and he scampered in for a 44-yard touchdown pass and basically infused a lot of life into the team. This is Kittle's 10th career 100-yard game as a 49er, and that is a franchise record. And it also ties him for 7th all-time in the NFL. So, safe to say, I think by the end of his career, if he stays healthy, most likely he's going to own all of the tight end records, which is pretty rich. You know, the likes of Brent Jones and also, you know, Vernon Davis for the time he played here. So that's pretty much what he did in the game. Moving on. And by the way, he owns the Rams. I mean, 3 out of the 4 last games, he's caught for over 100 yards. So, you know, you could ask him who Kittle is, and they'll know. And I'll get back to that about that in a second, because they have a certain player that likes to play stupid, even though he's really smart, and it kind of surprises me. Moving on to numero 10. Jimmy G himself, the man, the franchise. I know a lot of people are down on him, but you guys can't judge a guy by his injuries, and he's gutting it out there, giving it all he's got in the game, playing still on an ankle that's not 100%, and probably appreciated that one play where he scrambled and ran and took on the defender. All I could think about was a Kansas City game. He did the same thing. He got hit and blew out his ACL. Thank God he's all right. So, going back to Jimmy G and his stats, he was 23 of 33 for 268 yards and 3 touchdown passes with a 124.3 QB rating. All of this, of course, was in the first half.
He had a 124 or 124.3 quarterback rating, coming off of his ankle injury. He missed a couple of easy passes. There was one wide open to Juszczyk, or as we like to call him, Juice. But he ended up with 268 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in the first half.
So you could say that his game in the first half was pretty solid. They're very sharp. I mean, the way they started the game, they just drove down the field. Everything was working. Short passes, the running plays, everything would look beautiful. It was crisp. You know, George Kittle said earlier in the week that they had maybe their best day of practice all year, and that says a lot. So let's just assume that the first, 4 games of the season were probably preseason to them. Obviously, the games counted, but with no preseason, you can't fake live bullets in the game, even if they only play for a few series in each game. Moving forward, we're going to talk about the wide receiving group. I want to congratulate Brandon Ayuk on his first touchdown pass. It was a 2-yard pass on third and goal. He was basically slot. He ran, he faked to the right. He just kind of fell on his butt, and Jimmy just tossed a little easy pitch and catch right underneath the defenders. Also, Debo got his first touchdown of this game as well. I think he has 4 on the season now. It was a little toss pass where Garoppolo snaps the ball. Debo comes from the left. He kind of tosses it. It counts as a pass, but to me it's more. I mean, it's a toss, so whatever. But it's a high percentage type of play that they like to run. Left to right, confuse the heck out of the defense. Get the jet sweeps this way, get the jet sweeps that way. Get the running backs toss this way, get the running backs toss that way. Confuse the heck out of defense. Keep Aaron Donald off his point. Make him run around, and with a light offensive line, that's what you want to do in the zone running defense. You want to keep them running left and right. Typical Shanahan offense. It was beautiful. Also, we're going to talk about the offensive line. They gave up 0 sacks. 0 sacks in the game. I mean, I think a lot of people were questioning their effort, even some people questioned McGlinchey's weight. They said he's kind of light in the butt this year or something. But I really feel like they came out this week and they finally showed up, and they held the Rams to 0 sacks. Considering that Aaron Donald's on the other side, probably the best defensive lineman I could remember since Reggie White, and that's high praise. The guy's just a freak. But he might have had a couple pressures, and that's about it. He didn't touch Garoppolo. They kept him clean, and that is very, very important. The running game, they manufactured 122 yards on 37 carries. Jermichael Hasty got to play a little bit in the second half because Mozart, he got hurt. Mozart ended up getting hurt. He was running really hard in the first half. He had some explosive plays, but it seemed to me like he was trying really hard. He's putting his pads down, and he's not that type of running back to really collide and really challenge defenders. He's a little on the light side, so for him, speed is what he excels in. Running fast, seeing openings, and just going. 4.3 speed for a running back is quite amazing.
Yeah, like you said, he ran hard early, which caused him to tweak his ankle, so he couldn't play in the second half. I think he actually played early third half, and then he just third quarter. And then he just hopped out of the game.
Yeah, he tried it out. He went in. They taped up his ankle again, and he came out. So I heard today, unfortunately, they're going to put him on injured reserve. Short-term injured reserve, maybe 3 weeks or so. He was standing around, he was sitting, he was walking, but running and cutting is a different thing. So, unfortunately for us, he's not going to be available during the most important part of the schedule. And Coleman's still not back, and McKinnon hasn't been the same McKinnon we expected. So I assume next week is going to be the practice squad crew with McKinnon, Jermichael Hasty, and probably Jeff Wilson Jr. So we'll see how it works, and hopefully they can step in and fulfill the job. But the defense, the offense is totally different when Mozart's in there. It opens up a lot of things because the linebackers, they're going to have to try to over-pursue to get him, and when they over-pursue, he cuts back and he goes. That's why always you see when he runs and stretch, and then bam, he cuts back and goes the opposite way. Or he runs, and bam, he cuts back because it's too fast for them. And it changes everything on offense. And that's why in the second half, the 49ers are only able to score 3 points. They just couldn't really get anything going because the threat of the home run hitter wasn't there anymore. One could argue that he is maybe the offense's most valuable player. It's up for question. We have the man right here, the QB right there. So it's hard to say, but it's arguable, and that's for sure. Moving on to the defensive side and Robert Saleh's crew. Everybody saw what happened to that secondary last week. I mean, they got torched. Some of it was schematic mistakes. Some of it was inexperience. Obviously, they weren't ready to go up against, Fitzpatrick and what he did. But I have to say that they played a lot better than last week and only allowed 2 passing TDs, one of which was highly contested by Tart. I mean, it was a perfect, pitch and toss right over the middle. Tart was right on there. He stuck his arm in and barely missed it. And then, of course, the second one was a pass interference catch against Mosley. He didn't turn around against Jeffries, I believe. And Tart later left with a groin injury. Hopefully, it's not too serious. We're just getting hurt left and right, and it's not a good situation right now. As we're starting to get our players back, Richard Sherman, we're gonna wait and see what happens. If he comes back this week or not. So it's all up in the air. Now, on the positive end, Jason Verrett, man, he's been out for a couple of years, nagging injuries, Achilles, 2 ACLs on the same leg. But on a 4th and goal in the 3rd quarter, the Rams were going for it from the 2. And what ended up happening was, Goff was in shotgun, dropped back, threw the ball, and Verrett, there was 2 receivers on the left. Verrett, he veered off his guy. He was playing on the outside. He veered off his guy and looked to the inside and went and stole the ball from the slot receiver on the inside. And it was a beautiful play. I mean, if this guy can come back to what we think he can as a number 5 overall pick, I think the 49ers have a good one, provided that he stays healthy and they keep him for the next week. Now, the defense gave up 88 yards on the ground on 14 carries to Henderson. They were being slashed and gashed a little bit. I don't know if they were tired or what, but they got to definitely solidify that part of the game. Overall, it's a better performance, but still 0 sacks. Our offense gave up 0 sacks, and our defense had 0 sacks. That's not gonna cut it when we come, these next couple of weeks. We have, Cam Newton coming up. He's a scrambling quarterback. He likes to run. Followed by, not in order, of course, Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees. I mean, just Russell Wilson twice. It's gonna get pretty crazy. So, hopefully, maybe the DBs can shore up a little bit the secondary to where Robert Saleh can take more risks, and blitz up the middle. We saw, Warner line up in the A gap and blitz a couple times and come back, and they picked them up and drop and try to confuse, Jared Goff, but they still didn't get to the quarterback. All right, now for the coaching, Shanahan and Robert Saleh. I would say that Shanahan, changed the scheme of the game to help his quarterback out. And that's one thing he's really good at, to read the situation. And when you looked at the tape from last week, the 2 interceptions Garoppolo, threw, you drop back, and then when you go to drive forward, his right ankle, which is his pushing leg, where he pushes off to get that strength, I mean, he was basically hopping. I mean, the guy shouldn't have been in the game possibly. And, when you can't throw the ball off your back leg like that, the ball ends up fluttering. Flutter to the left, flutter to the right, 2 interceptions. So, to make up for that, Shanahan changed the play calling, had a lot of short passing, screen here, a screen there, a little toss here, just short to intermediate passing, and it really helped them develop a little bit of a rhythm. However, they didn't attack deep, so we didn't see any deep balls that were caught. So they're still kind of lacking from that perspective. What happened with the short passing is it ended up giving the 49ers more time clock or ball control. They ended up with almost 38 minutes of time of possession, 22 going to the Rams. So it kept the drives going. It kept the first down marker going. It kept everything just moving along, which, like I said, gives your defense some rest, gets continuity on offense, and gets the ball rolling. Okay, so we're going to do something this week that's a little different. We're going to give out some
Ratings.
player and position group grades. So, Jimmy G, what do you think Jimmy G deserves as a grade, in this game?
Like letter grades,
Letter grades.
I'll give him A minus. I think he had a good game. It's just a normal performance. Nothing like A plus worthy, but still a pretty decent performance.
Okay, I would say I graded him as a B plus because I feel like he had a couple passes. That Juszczyk one that was pretty easy. The second week, or was it? Who was it? That somebody was it him that missed it? The same play last week I believe that was overthrown as well. But that's a regular pitch and toss. Of course he was hurt, so I don't want to give him excuse. But there was no pressure on that play, and we're out on the field. We can throw the ball around. We're not NFL players, but So I gave him a B plus for managing the game. The O line. What do you give the offensive line?
I'll give him an A, solid A. They didn't allow any sacks, as you said earlier, and they're just playing solid.
I give him an A minus, only because after Mozart went down, they weren't able to open as many holes for the backup running backs. They were playing with a lot more energy though, and McGlinchey, at the end of the game, I think it was Debo that picked up the first down. He went up to the backup left guard and he gave him a headbutt. It was so violent. I thought that he was going to knock him out. That's how hyped he was. Because to me, it seems like McGlinchey's hearing a lot of the noise from outside, a lot of people talking, and pretty much he's taking it to heart. But he needs to separate his on-field play from social media. So I'd give him an A minus. A minus. No sacks allowed. An A plus performance to me means that they ran for 200 plus yards. They were just dominant, just enforcing their will on everybody. That's an A plus to me. So maybe I'm a little hard, but that's what I feel. Running backs. What would you give the running back group as a whole?
Maybe a B plus. Mostert, he was playing very well in the first half, but obviously he tweaked his ankle. So I believe
Michael Hasty.
Hasty he went in. He had an okay second half.
And McKinnon as well played a little bit.
Yeah, but they weren't at Mostert's level, so I'll give him a B plus.
I gave him a B. We're not too far off. I gave him a B because McKinnon, he's supposed to be healthy now. It's week 6 of the NFL. I still haven't seen that explosiveness. He doesn't seem like an every down back to me. He's more like a third down back. And the running, game as a whole in the second half didn't do much. Hastings came in. He's a practice squad guy. He came in. He's that rookie out of Baylor, undrafted rookie. He's really solid. He's stocky. He's short. He's shifty. He likes to bounce around, left to right. So I would hope that they give him more touches. He gets some confidence behind him. He has a lot to prove. A chip on his shoulder, but I would definitely give them a B. I would say. All right, and moving on to the receiver group. What do you think the receivers deserve?
And a solid A minus or an A. I feel like when they got the ball, they played well. For example, Kittle really helped the grade go up with the touchdown count on fourth down. So.
Okay, so we're gonna lump Kittle into the receiving group, but he's a receiver. No, that's all right. We could lump him in there. Um, I would say the receiving group for me is a B plus. They didn't have too many opportunities, long pass opportunities. So I can't give them an A, but the effort was there. Bourne had a drop pass that was kind of easy, but he caught another one that was good. Ayuk had his first touchdown catch of the year. I think he had an end around or a little toss play to him too. But what really impressed me, of course, every week was Debo. In the beginning of the first drive, there was a play where he ran off to the left. I think it was a toss play or a jet sweep. And as he was being tackled to the ground, they all bunched up and he was on top of them, but the whistle didn't blow. So he kept his knee off the ground. He got up and he ran for like another 25 yards before they caught him and they tackled him. It was a tremendous play, totally heads up, and we got a good one in Debo Samuels. Okay, moving forward, the defensive line. What do you give the defensive line for a grade?
I would give him a B. I feel like Fred Warner had a good game, but they didn't.
The defensive line, not the linebackers. The line.
Oh, um, I feel like I would still give him a B. Just they didn't sack or zero sacks. I just give him a B.
I would say a B minus. Or grades are pretty close. I'd say B minus because that zero sacks, like you said. But they got ran on a little bit. I think Henderson ended up averaging almost 7 yards carry, or 6.5 or something like that. And the other running back, it escapes my mind right now, had like 5.6. So they were being run on a little bit yesterday. I really thought that DJ Jones in the middle. I thought that our defensive line would be solidified a little bit when it comes, against the run, especially with the group of linebackers they had behind them, with Warner back there, and also, that group. But for some reason, we have to give McVay credit too because he schemed an incredible, confusing running attack, and he comes from the same, coaching tree, the same, coaching tree, just like Shanahan. They all come from the Bill Walsh coaching tree. So watching their offenses, I would say that they're pretty similar. The one thing I noticed this game compared to the last game of last year was they didn't do a lot of rollout passing. Last game it was hike, roll out to the right, crossing receiver, throw, hike, roll out to the left, crossing receiver, throw. They didn't do any of that this year. And I think maybe they outfought themselves a little bit. But the 49ers, typically they struggle with, containment. All right, secondary. How do you feel about the secondary compared to last week?
So secondary like Warner.
No, the secondary. The corners. The
Corn.
safeties.
Oh, okay. I feel like they had a great game, obviously. So I'll give them an A minus. Verrett obviously helped us a lot when we got our corners back. We played a lot better. It was like a different team. So I'll give them an A minus just because they had like an F against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I grade him an A minus too. I felt like Verrett, showed up in the running game. He showed up in the passing game. He had a reception. I read somewhere he has like the highest grade for cornerbacks, or quarterbacks throwing his way have the lowest. What is it? The lowest quarterback rating, like 7.8 quarterback rating going to his side. That's shut down stuff. Don't mess with me. Don't think about throwing the ball my way. You're gonna pay the price. And earlier on in the game, he had a chance where he shortcut a pass and basically stepped up in front of the receiver's hands. Their hands kind of collided and dropped the ball. And he would have had like an 80-yard touchdown return. He could have had easily in this game two, pick sixes, or one pick six, and the interception for a touchback. So I'll give him an A minus. Coaching. What do you give the coaches this week?
I'll give him A minus. I feel like the coaches in the last game were just confused. I obviously can't put all the blame on them because we were beat up on defense. Um, I give them an A minus.
So I gave them a B plus. Our grades are pretty close, and the reason why I gave them a B plus is because I felt like after Mozart went down, Shanahan didn't have a lot of, um, I wanted to see more ingenuity. Like you started the first half of the game, how about a trick play? How about like I talked about it during like a flea flicker. Something to kind of throw a wrench, at the defense. Um, so I would give them a B plus, which is really solid. Of course, Salah, had a better game playing this week. Mosley coming back helps a lot. So I would give them a B plus. I think this is a great comeback game for the 49ers. They're going to be approaching the most difficult part of their schedule. And we talked about it earlier when I mentioned Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, they asked him after the game, what do you think about Deebo Samuels? And he was like, who?
I think that was before the game.
Was it before the game?
I mean,
to say it was after.
I think he obviously knows who Debo Samuel is
Who's Deebo
after he
Samuel?
scored.
Deebo who? And he was like, I don't know who that is. So then they're like, he's a wide receiver. And he goes, well, blah, blah, whatever. So they're going to remember this for the second game. I'm happy they got the win. Next game, of course, it's at Foxborough. Dun, 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 dun. Trip to the East Coast to play against the Hoodie and Cam Newton. That'll be fun to see what happens. Cam Newton basically stunk up this week. So it'll be exciting to see if the 49ers pick up a win on the road in the East Coast. Jimmy Garoppolo's first game back to the team that drafted Belichick. Belichick, of course, loved him. He speaks highly of him. But, it'll be fun to see what happens. Anyways, thank you again. We kind of blabbered on for a little bit. Remember, subscribe. WazzupSports with a U. WazzupSports on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Share the video. We'll see you guys next time.